The whole world is getting ready to experience a change, cause the time has come for the righteous man to stand up in great boldness. Wisdom of Solomon 5 verse 1. Now everybody waking up and
Exodus 20. Yeah, Exodus 20. Yeah, that's a very good question. Right? Yeah, that's a very good question. You are saying now today, how do we know if the Sabbath is on this day? Okay, alright. Read that.
Exodus 20 verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor.
We have 6 days. When you go to basic school, what is the first day? What is the first day of the week? What is the first schoolers? What is the first day of the week? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. No, that's what I learned. Isn't that what you learn in school, sister? Alright, so your sister is bearing witness. The first day is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So ask the question, when is the Sabbath? Sabbath day is today. Yes. Alright? The Sabbath day is today. No, don't leave. Learn some more. Learn how to keep the Sabbath. You're knowing that today is the Sabbath, so now learn to keep the Sabbath. Get me the read that. Read it from the top again.
Exodus 20 verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
So you have to keep the Sabbath holy. Always remember. That's why God said remember, because we have a tendency to forget the commandments. Right? Read.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
So hear what you have to do in the Sabbath day. Now read.
In it thou shalt not do any work.
See that?
Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant.
So if you have an option not to work because we're in captivity, some of us have to work if we have a job. Because if we don't work, we're going to lose a job. But if you are in a case where you have the option not to work, and you say you're going to do some overtime, or you're gonna work on the Sabbath intentionally to break the Sabbath, then that's wrong. You understand? So let's get other laws now. It says remember to keep it holy. So one way to keep it holy is when you do not work. Now let's get to Exodus 35 and 3. I'm coming to you, brother. Bear with me.
The book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 3. Ye shall kindle no fire.
Is it customary for you to cook on the Sabbath? On the Saturday? Is it customary for you to make some tea, boil some, cook? Okay, but that wasn't talking about cooking. We're going to bring that out. We're going to bring that out. Well, remember, understanding is one thing, You can quote the scripture, but the understanding is another thing. Read that again from the top.
Exodus 35 verse 3. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitation.
This is what we have to do. In order to not cook on the Sabbath, we have to eat, right? So here's what we have to do when the Sabbath comes. We can't cook, so this is what we have to do. Read.
Exodus 16 verse 22. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice.
On the 6th day, meaning the day approaching the Sabbath, they what?
They gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers and 1 man, and all.
So on the 6th day they gathered twice as much because what? They cannot cook on the Sabbath. Right? Read.
Exodus chapter 16 verse 23. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord had said, tomorrow,
which was on the 6th day, he was speaking to them on the 6th day. So he says, tomorrow, which is the Sabbath, what?
Is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye may bake.
So in order to prepare for the Sabbath, you have to bake. What you have to bake on the 6th day, read?
Today, and see that ye will see, and that which remaineth over, lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Because there was a law that says don't kindle any fire. So they had to prepare from the day before. Yeah, go ahead.
In today's society, a lot of people are option. In case you get the money for the side, wait, let you learn the song. If I was speaking of today is, does it apply? Because things change, you understand? Right? A totally different society. So does it apply? How does the Bible apply? Because I said that. So how do you know it applies to, you understand?
Okay, so you're saying that in that, you're right, some of what you're saying is right, because we were in our own land, we were in our own kingdom. So we have liberty to do a lot of things. Now we are in captivity. There are business set up. This kingdom says what? You can set up business and work on the Sabbath, but that's not what God laws is saying. Now, in a case like this, for example, us, because we are keeping it, right? Sometimes I have to work on the Sabbath, but there are times, other times, like once a month, I have to work on the Sabbath. The other 3 weeks, I don't have to work, so I have to prepare and keep the Sabbath. So you have to use wisdom, right? So hear what you do now. If it's a case where you are getting paycheck on Saturdays, all you do is just wait till sundown and you go and buy what you need to buy. So you don't break, because the Sabbath is from Friday sundown. Listen to this, Friday sundown, this is just wisdom, you know, brother. This is just, you know, this is just using common sense right here, right? So it says, and the Sabbath starts from Friday sundown to Sabbath sundown. If you get paycheck on Saturday, all you need to do is just prepare. It says seat and prepare everything, because I'm sure you can put up what is called savings. Buy the food from before, and then you spend the money after the Sabbath. Simple.
What are you saying that God, that you are obviously there is once in Friday, you see the music and everything, understand. Nowadays, back then, remember that back then, we never have them bus back then was right down there.
Okay, so you're saying back then it was different, so now things have to change a bit, that will cause a result of breaking these commandments, right? Okay, so get me Judges 5:11. You're right, as I said, we're in captivity, so there's certain things that we won't have a choice to do. You understand? For example, if we have to work on Saturday, we work. But what if it's a case you don't have to work? Huh? Huh? Hold on, let's read that. Let's go in the scripture for a bit. Let's read that.
Judges chapter 5 verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water.
In the places of drawing water is what you would say the land of captivity, right? Read.
There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
Why would it say while we are in our captivity we should rehearse them? Right? Because what? We are in captivity. We are in captivity. Certain things we don't have liberty to do. Get me 1 Thessalonians or 2 Thessalonians 3:10. It talks about we have to work. God commands us that we should work. You understand? And a lot of businesses today require that you work on the Sabbath. Some of our brothers are here now, meaning they get the day off. It's not every time they can get the day off, but whenever they get the day off, what should they do? Still break the Sabbath? No! They get the day off, they get a time to keep the laws, they keep the laws. Right? Read on, read on.
2 Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should ye eat.
If we don't work, we don't eat. So we cannot, you know why we are in captivity today? This is why, get me Deuteronomy 28 and 48. This is why we are, this is God put us in this condition. First you have to understand, it is God who placed us in this condition. Read that.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So God is saying, if we do not listen and keep his commandments, right? Read.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God would put us in a condition where we are experiencing curses if we don't keep the commandments. When we, get me 46, when we were in our own land, 47, when we were in our own land, we have liberty to do all of these, to keep all of these laws. We didn't want to keep them. So God put us in a condition now where we are experiencing curse. Now let's see what some of the curses are and what we would do. Right? Read 47.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
So we had abundance of all things only when we serve God. We didn't serve God because we were getting the abundance of all things. Our own land, our own economic, our own military. You understand? We were ruling the earth. Israelites were ruling the earth at this time. So God is saying, because we do not serve him in joyfulness and gladness. Let's hear what he said after. Read.
Verse 48. Therefore,
So as a result of not serving him with joyfulness and gladness by keeping the commandments, therefore, read,
shalt thou serve thine enemies.
serve who?
Thine enemies.
The people who own these banks, these businesses, these labor forces are our enemies, right? Read on.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
And who send them against us? It's the Lord who sent these enemies against us to put us in oppression, right? We have to work day and night, sun up, sundown. It's God, it's a curse. Read.
In hunger.
And in hunger, if you want food, you have to serve them. Who owns Super Plus? Is our people who own Megamart. You understand? Who own all of these businesses? It's not us, it's our enemies. Read.
And in thirst.
And in thirst, if we want water. Who owns Catch and Speak? Who owns water? Who controls all the reservoirs and dams? It's not our people. We have to serve them. If we have to go to NWC, put on the water, and when we put on the water, we have to ensure we pay a bill every month. You understand? Read on.
And in nakedness.
And in nakedness. If you want clothes, my brother, I'm sure if you look at the tag on your clothes right now, you see made in China, made in Thailand, made in Brazil. You understand? It's not our people who manufactures and make clothing, right? So we have to serve our enemies for these things. Read.
And in want of all things.
And in want of all things, anything you can think of. Simple thing as toilet paper. It's not our people who make that. We have to go to them. If you want to travel and you need a visa, will you go to US Embassy, Canada Embassy? You understand? If you want a driver's license to drive on the road, if you want a vehicle to purchase, it's not our people who makes those things. We don't have no economic might. We don't have no military might. We have nothing. And if you see, all these nations have all of these things. Because what? God set them above us. So that we should serve them. Get me that? We come below, they go above. Get me that precept. 43. Read that.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 43.
So listen to this, brother. Read.
The stranger.
That strangers are all these other nations, right? The strangers were the Edomites, the Perizzites, the Elamites, the Moabites, right? These strangers, read.
That is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
That meaning we would lose the state of rulership, right? They will get up above us to rule us, to oppress us. Read.
And thou shalt come down very low.
And the Israelites will come down very low as the base nation. As what you're seeing today, it's a curse. We were gods on this earth, right? We were ruling the nations. Get me Deuteronomy 1:21 and 28 and 1. Let's prove that we were ruling these nations, and as a result, the only way we can ever rule these nations is when we apply one thing. Let's find that out. Read that.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments.
So when we observe, when we hearken and do them, this is what will happen. This would be the reward. Read that.
Which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high.
Will set thee where? At the base?
On high.
On high, above, let's see, above who?
Above all nations of
See that?
earth.
When we keep the commandments, that's when God set us on high above all nations. But now, guess what? We are beneath all nations. Guess what happened? We break the commandments. So when we come out here and admonishing our people, rebuking our people, as the scripture said, it is for them to get out of this state. This is like every nigger for themselves, right? We have to love our people and teach our people these laws, because with the laws, as we read, we have rulership on this earth. You understand? Jump back now to verse 68. What transportation did we came here on in slavery? Ship. We're going to see if that was a curse. Read that.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So you see that? She said God will bring us into Egypt. Egypt, don't confuse that word. Egypt only means, let's find the definition of Egypt. So, yeah, that was Egypt, but the word Egypt has a meaning. It's not talking about the geographical location. This is in the context where what the scripture is saying. It's talking about, it's have a meaning. Let's find a meaning out. Read.
Exodus 20 verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
Out of the land of Egypt, right? Let's see what Egypt is now called.
out of the house of bondage.
Egypt is synonymous for bondage. And you would say bondage, another word for bondage would be what, Daddy? Start with S. Captivity and what? Slavery. You understand? So Egypt means bondage. Now jump back to verse 68. So this is how we are applying precept. I'm sure you were here when we were talking about precept to get the understanding, right? Read.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
What? With how?
With ships.
From the top again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt.
Into slavery. Let's see how.
Again with ships.
Into slavery again on cargo slave ships. Where's that sign? On cargo slave ships. Right here. During the transatlantic slave trade. This is how. This is a biblical prophecy and it did come to pass. You understand? And this is a curse for breaking the commandments. You understand? We are actually learning that this is the people. Get me 46 as well. Because if you may ask, how do we know that we are the Israelites? Right? Let's see how. Read that.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 46. And they shall be upon thee.
Meaning these curses, remember we went over the curses. So it says, all these curses shall be upon thee for
a sign and for a wonder.
So brother, if I asked you to go down, go over by NCB, if there wasn't a sign on the building, would you know where NCB is? So with the sign you can then look and say, identify and say, oh, that's NCB, because the sign is showing that the building there is NCB. Just as with these curses, the signs are showing, are pointing to the people who are experiencing these curses. One of these curses is that we will have been sent into Egypt, into slavery again on ships. So you're going to ask yourself, but wait, who are the Israelites? And after hearing that scripture, you're going to say, all right, which people on earth went into Egypt again on ships? And then you're just going to put connect the dots together. You're going to say, well, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
I just have one more question. You said God is a God of the whole entire world. Why God is not everybody? You are mentioning the slave trade. It's only African black people, right? So what you are preaching right now, how does it apply to the people, the Chinese, the white people? How they see a Bible that they're using now? I mean, Chinese can read English, right?
Okay, all right. Get me Joel 2:27. Get me Joel 2:27. That's a very good question, brother. These other nations are here for a purpose. God did make them for a purpose. But you have to ask yourself, what purpose are these nations here for? I'm sure one of the purposes that they have us in slavery. You understand? When we disobey God, these nations put us in slavery. So that's one of the purpose. Let's hear other purpose. But before I answer that, let's give it, because all people think that they can worship, all nations can worship the true God. Let's read a scripture for you. Read on.
The book of Joel chapter 3 verse 2. I will also gather all nations.
Joel 2:27.
Joel chapter 2 verse 27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else.
And all nations.
And none else.
God is saying, I'm only in the midst of Israel. I'm only the God of Israel and no other nations. Right? That's what God is saying. Get me Amos 3:1 again. Sister, you never stick around last week. Stick around this week, man. Come get the word, huh? You listen, yeah man, come get some shady right here, sir. Alright, read that.
Amos chapter 3 verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord will spoke against you, O children of Israel.
So the children of Israel, God has spoken to, read.
Against the whole family which I brought upon the land of Egypt. Read again. Amos chapter 3 verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, verse 2, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Of all the families, meaning all the nations of the earth, and what?
Therefore I will punish you for your iniquities.
So if you're asking why are we so jacked up as a people and these nations are living lavishly, you understand, they are prospering over us, this is the answer. God is saying we will punish us for our iniquity. Let's find out what the purpose of these nations are for. Get me Isaiah 14:1. Let's find out the purpose of the Chinese, the white man, No, they are not the Jews. They are not those white people in Israel today. They are not they call themselves Jewish. Jewish. What does ish mean, sis? If you're wearing, all right. If you point at a color and say it's reddish, does that mean it's red? No. Reddish only means it looks somewhat like appear. That's why they call themselves the Jews. Read that. Hold on, we're gonna get to that. But let's hear brother. Let's hear the purpose of all these other nations. Read. When we get the kingdom, when Christ returns. Read on.
Isaiah chapter 14.
The Muslims are the Arabs. This applies to them as well. Read.
14 verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob.
So God, even though he jacked us up, sent us in slavery, he's going to turn his mercy on us. This is what he's doing now. Read.
And will yet choose Israel.
He will yet, meaning he have chosen Israel, and he will continue to choose Israel as his people. Read.
And set them in their own land.
We are in the land of our enemies, but we are going back in our own land. Right? Read.
And the strangers.
The strangers are the other nations. Read.
Shall be joined with them.
They are going to be in the kingdom with us, but let's see how they are going to be what they will be doing in the kingdom with us. Read.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
So just as we are cleaving to the nations for food, water, clothing, they will cleave unto us. But let's get to it. Read.
Verse 2. And the people
meaning the Israelites, we read,
shall take them and bring them.
Brother, listen to this. Wait, man, listen to this. So we shall take these other nations and bring them where?
To their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them.
When you say you possess something, what you do, sis? Possess mean what? You own it, you govern it, right? So it says we shall possess them what?
In the land of the Lord.
For what?
For servants and handmaids.
So just as how we are servants in their kingdom today, they are going to be servants in our kingdom. When God come back and set us, establish the Israelites back in rulership.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel, Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this and join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.